So the moral premise which we're basing our position on is not necessarily on the individual and how they broke the law. It's on how the system exploits individuals for our benefit. What we have here is a permanent underclass of workers that benefit us, but at the same time, we're not willing to provide them the protection of the law. And the bishops say we can't have it both ways. And it's not just the United States that's culpable here. It's also the sending communities as well. Mexico and other Central American countries certainly have an obligation to do more for their people to keep them there and to give them jobs. So we look at it as sort of a chess game where the migrants are the pawns in the chess game between the sending communities and the receiving communities. It's, in sort of strong words, a subtle hypocrisy in this country. It's a nod, nod, wink, wink. We've got this underclass of workers that are pliable, that we can use in these important industries, and until they push us politically to do so, we're not going to provide them the protection of the law. So that, we think, is a big overriding moral issue that we're confronting in this nation. What's the solution? What do the bishops say is the solution? Well, what we say is controversial, as you've seen over the last several years, but let me go through it rationally. We do believe there should be a legalization of the 12 million that are here. And this is probably the most controversial issue because it's always described as amnesty. What does it achieve? It'll achieve several things for our country. It will provide family unity to immigrant families, over 50% who are mixed status, where they have undocumented parents and U.S. citizen children. It will stabilize our workforce so that U.S. citizen workers and immigrant workers get a higher wage. And believe it or not, it will improve our national security because we'll know who's here. People will come out and say, I'm here, identify themselves to the government, and we'll be able to know who's here for work purposes and who's here for other purposes. Real quickly, let me address the rule of law issue. And this is similar to, this is to answer Mr. Beck's arguments about whether an undocumented immigrant is the same as a shoplifter or embezzler. The issue which this whole debate revolves around is what should be the response to the undocumented immigrant? What should be the penalty for someone who's broken the law and come in? Opponents of immigration reform would say immediate deportation, if not more. We say no, let's make the penalty commensurate to the offense. What would that look like? It would look like, let's have them pay fines, let's have them pay their back taxes, let's have them wait in the back of the line, and let's have them work for 8 to 13 years before they're even eligible for a green card. How does that benefit us? Because we get the benefit of the work of these people at the same time, but they're not cutting in front of the line. We think this is a proportionate response to the offense that they have committed. Now, when you look at that, how do judges look at offenses? They look at the intent and the effect. What's the intent of the worker, the immigrant worker? He wants to come and support his family. He wants to work. And indeed, I would make the argument that they do work in important industries and contribute to our society. That's the effect. What's the effect of these immigrant workers? We believe overall, and statistics will back this up, they are net contributors to our economy as we go forward. And there's a lot of indicators that say we're going to need these workers in the future as baby boomers retire, for example, and as our reproduction rate decreases. We're going to need workers, especially in these industries. So, in summary, I just wanted to give you the perspective from the bishops that we look at it from a global viewpoint. We see that the system itself is broken, and we look for a solution. In the enforcement realm, we're not finding a solution right now. The raids are more designed to demonstrate that the government can enforce the law, but in fact, it is not doing anything to force people to leave or to deport large numbers of people. What it is doing is dividing immigrant communities and separating families. It's not a solution to our problem, the problem of illegal immigration in this country. What we need is a comprehensive look at this issue at every aspect of the system in order to correct it. And by doing so, we'll be in a better position to really enforce the law, because we'll know who's here for the right reasons, and we'll know who to focus on: human traffickers, smugglers, and would-be terrorists. The same head of the Border Patrol who suggested that what Mr. Beck said about enforcement also has said that we need a guest worker program in order to alleviate the pressure on the southern border. So even the Border Patrol understands that they can't stop illegal immigration on their own, that we need a broader look at this. In conclusion, let me just say that right now we're in a dark period in our country. Enforcement is the mantra. Worksite enforcement raids are our national policy now, because Congress has decided to punt on this issue. But that we need to go back and look at this, hopefully after the election, and get a comprehensive immigration bill. What we're left with, sadly, is, and what we may be left with in the years ahead, if we don't do something about this, is a wall on our border, which will be a symbol of the failure of our country to address this issue. And it will be a symbol to the world. And hopefully, although the presidential candidates are running away from this issue right now, they'll realize when the victor takes power that they're going to have to address this issue in short order, or we'll be left with a broken system, with a permanent underclass in this society, and with U.S. citizens pondering a wall on the border and why it's not working. Thank you.